Hey guys, this is Greg Tony and I am your instructor for Speech 205 Public Speaking. This video is primarily directed towards the Bridge to Clemson students who are completing their work online in Blackboard up until September 21st. Beginning the 21st, you will attend on-campus lecture, so please make sure you check the announcements section for the lecture day assignments so you know which day you are to attend when that begins. But up until that point, you've got a lot of work to do in Blackboard, and what I wanted to do with this video is to take a quick look at some of the syllabus information in regards to some of the assignments and how to navigate Blackboard just a little bit. In the second video I'm going to put up, I'm going to cover a brief overview of the first speech assignment, which is due on Saturday, September 5th. And so as a Bridge to Clemson student, completing your work online here for the first few weeks, you'll be actually recording and uploading your first speech assignment in Blackboard. All right, so let me go in and let me see if I can share my screen. Give me a second here. So it looks like we're sharing, and let me go to PowerPoint. All right, so hopefully you can see that there. Again, Greg Tony. My office is Miller Hall, 186. My contact information is all found in Blackboard, but my telephone number there and my email address, gtony@tctc.edu. Now, it's probably more effective if you email me directly through Blackboard. That way everything stays in Blackboard. Just so I can keep everything for a particular class together, but please don't hesitate to reach out to me. The textbook is a speaker's guidebook by Dan O'Hare, 7th edition, and you have access to the ebook in Blackboard, so it's not really necessary for you to go get a hard copy unless you just want one, but you do have access to the textbook already in Blackboard. All right, so what are the speeches going to be that we do this year in class? We've got a speech of introduction, which is, it's an informative speech, but it's basically about you. And there's several options you can take that you'll see when we cover the assignment. But it's part of our audience analysis, getting to know each other a little bit better. If there's a good thing about it, it's only worth 50 points. So it's really worth more in experience than it is in point value. And like I said, you guys, your speech will be due Saturday, September 5th. And the attendance verification assignment that you'll complete will actually take you through the process of how to do that. We've got a basic informative speech, comes about mid-semester. It's worth 150 points. The time limit on it is 5 to 7 minutes in length. And these are things where you do a speech about an idea, maybe something related to a hobby of yours. Maybe it's a biographical speech about somebody famous, a how-to speech about a process. Something about an historical event. All of those are the type of speeches that would fall under the informative speech, and it's worth 150 points. Then towards the end of the semester, we will have our basic persuasive speech. You now will become advocate for something. This deals with the process of changing or reinforcing attitudes, beliefs, values, and or behavior. Time limit is 6 to 8 minutes, and it's worth 200 points. So you see, weighted wise, your persuasive speech is worth as much as the first two combined. And then lastly, we'll do a group presentation. And so we deliver these right at the very end of the semester. You will work with some of your other classmates who are already attending campus classes. We'll break into groups at that point, and you basically work as a group to solve a problem. You'll identify a problem, analyze that problem, generate solutions to it, and so on. We will write a critical analysis paper. The objective of this paper is where you analyze an outside speech, and I have a list of about 15 speeches that are online that you can use for this assignment. We'll talk about it later on down the road. It's not due until the end of the semester. We will take a written midterm and final exam. Both of these will be taken online in Blackboard. So regardless of whether you're still online or back to campus, these will be taken online. And then daily grades. There's a number of things that fall into kind of the small category of daily grades. Rough drafts of outlines. You'll be submitting one for the informative and persuasive speech about a week or two ahead of time. Gives me a chance to give you some feedback. and you know, kind of forces you to work ahead just a little bit. You'll get 10 points for each one of those. Self-analysis questionnaires. There's a questionnaire to be completed in Blackboard about your most recent presentation. So after each individual speech, you'll answer the questionnaire about your own performance. You'll analyze yourself, and those are worth 10 points apiece. And then we have the weekly reading quizzes. There are 10 weekly reading quizzes that are accessible through Blackboard. Everything that I'm talking about that you get to through course content, and then you'll find them listed there. The weekly reading quizzes, they're progressive learning curve quizzes, meaning you take them till you meet a competency, so they're either all credit or none, and the only reason you get no credit is if you don't take it. All 10 weekly reading quizzes are open. However, each one has an expiration date. They progressively expire with a deadline. So weekly reading quiz number 1 is due this Saturday night by 11 o'clock. Reading quiz number 2 is due by next Saturday night at 11 o'clock, and so on and so on. So kind of just get in the mindset that you've got a weekly reading quiz due every week. And as long as you keep up with that schedule, you'll get all of those done. Once a weekly reading quiz expires or missed, it cannot be reset. Okay, so please keep that in mind. If you miss it, it cannot be reset. So make yourself a mental note that you need to make sure you take your weekly reading quiz every week. It's a total of 100 points for the daily grade. So the grade breakdown, the speeches are 56% of your grade. The exams are 22% of your grade. The paper is 11%, and all of the daily grade things add up to 11% of your grade as well. So there's a total of 900 points available in the class. And so what will happen is at the end of the semester, I'll take your point total, I'll divide it by 900, and that will be your final average. And I do not have extra credit built into the system, so just be aware of that as we move forward through the semester. All right, so deadline policy. No speech will be made up without an approved written excuse submitted on the day you return to class. Now, that's primarily focused on campus classes and campus attendance. For your very first speech, you'll be submitting it by due date, by deadline, September 5th. But your next 2 speeches, the informative and persuasive, you'll have an assigned class delivery day, and you'll know well in advance when that speech is due. Attendance policy. Okay, so this is set up here for the campus attendance. Once you return to campus, we'll be taking roll in person. However, for your attendance as a Bridge to Clemson student, attendance for the week will be taken by your active participation in Blackboard. So basically every week I'll look to make sure that you have logged in. I'll make to look sure that you have completed whatever the assignment is for that particular week, like, for example, the weekly reading quiz. And as long as you have logged in and done the work you're supposed to, you will be marked present. If you have not logged in during a particular week, you will be marked absent. Certainly keep that in mind. 3 absences is what you're allowed. Anything beyond 3 will institute a drop for non-attendance. Now, if you do have 2 back-to-back, like if you don't log in for 2 complete weeks, then that will also get you dropped by student records. It's based on a 14-day time period. So just make sure you're logging in on a regular basis, checking email, checking the discussion board, and doing the assignments that are there. Of course, we've already said that. Lecture groups, you are already divided into a lecture group. However, that won't begin until September 21st. But you will not be able to switch lecture groups because they're very closely divided based on the occupancy allowed by a classroom. You can't make up an absence in another lecture group. You can only attend on the day that you're assigned. And like I said, you guys begin your on-campus attendance on the 21st of September. The last date that you can drop a class and still receive a W is Monday, October 26th. I'll remind you of that date as we get closer to it. Some general guidelines that basically apply to everything that we do in here. Closely monitor time limits. There is a time limit for each speech, 4 to 6 minutes for the introductory speech, 5 to 7 minutes for the informative speech, and 6 to 8 minutes for the persuasive speech. Not making time, going short or going long of that time limit does cost 1 letter grade on the speech. So no matter how good or how bad the speech may be, right off the top, you're going to lose a letter grade if it goes short or goes long. So having a strict time limit really forces you to practice and rehearse. It forces you to develop the speech effectively and really organize it. And so you need to make sure when you practice and rehearse that you consistently come within the middle of that 2-minute window. Extemporaneous delivery, that's a big word for conversational. That's our goal. Okay, let's strive to be dynamic, be expressive, and conversational, so we don't come across as we're just standing here reading to the audience. We don't want to come across as tired and boring and monotone. We want to sound passionate and excited and energetic in the way we deliver our speech. It allows us to really use the voice. It allows us to maximize eye contact as we speak. You will submit outlines and works cited pages for every speech. That is a graded part of the speech in terms of the paperwork. Ethics are essential when we start thinking about the ethical implications, the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, plagiarism, something that's very important for us to consider. That certainly addresses the issue of being able to properly cite the sources of others' information within our speech. For example, when we use statistical data, we would say, you know, according to a study done by the American Red Cross in 2019, they found that, and then you give us the information that you're using. So essential ethics. Peer feedback, we've mentioned that you'll do analysis of your own speeches and other speeches as well. Mandatory videoing. Of course, you'll be videoing your own speech for this first speech, and speeches in class once we return to campus. We'll be recording all of them on speech day. That way you can watch it when you go to complete your self-analysis, and I've got a record of it as well in case we needed to go back and look at it. And then common courtesy, not something that you'll really need to worry about until you return to campus, but just simple things like walking in and out of the classroom during the middle of speeches. We wait until the speech is over before we come in and out of the classroom, not talking while other people are speaking, and by all means, turning off cell phones during the classroom so that we either don't have them ringing in the middle of class or we are not distracted by looking at TikToks and Instagrams and text while lecture or speeches are being given. A few other things when delivering speeches, and this applies to even your first speech that you'll be doing online. We want to make sure that our attire is appropriate. Business casual is what I would call for. You want to look nice. Your audience is going to judge you by the way you look before you say anything. We don't wear hats while we speak. No gum, candy, cough drops while you're speaking. When you go to record your first speech, you need to make sure that you're standing up. When you speak, we do not deliver that recorded speech sitting down. I'll reiterate that when we cover the speech assignment. Laptop computers, once you return to class and you start taking notes from lecture, you're welcome to bring your computer in to take notes. That's great. And then once again, reiterating, no cell phones, pagers, video games, texting, and things like that. All right. So as let me see if I make sure I stop sharing. Okay, so we're back to this here. What I'm going to do now is we're going to go to Blackboard, and I want to walk you through some of the details of where to find things in Blackboard, just to kind of give you a quick overview as a bridge to Clemson students. So let me go back to sharing the screen again. All right, so it looks like we're here. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm looking off to another computer screen, so I'm not really staring at you and the camera here. When you land on the Blackboard page, you're going to see that the first page are announcements. Okay, and so as we look at announcements. Actually, I need to go to one of your class sections here. Let's change that. And I am in the student view. All right, so what you need to do first as a Bridge to Clemson student doing your work online is you need to go to this Getting Started. Here you're going to see the course schedule that outlines what you have due on a weekly basis, basically focuses on the assignments, the reading assignments, the quizzes, due dates. So I need you to review the calendar course schedule. I need you to review the course syllabus. And then as a Bridge to Clemson student, you need to complete this attendance verification assignment. Now, this assignment is going to take you through the process of how to record and upload a speech video. It's a skill you're going to need to know when it comes time to record and upload your first speech. So every Bridge to Clemson student needs to complete this assignment before Sunday, before the end of this week. Go ahead and work on that. If you have questions about it, please let me know. All right, so other things that you'll find in here, pretty much all of the content is found under this course content materials. You see here, there's access to the ebook. Again, your attendance verification assignment. The video lecture hall, right here under the video lecture hall, which is probably where you are now in order to see this video. Until you return to campus on the 21st of September, I will be recording lectures and putting them here in this section for you to view on a regular basis. So just look for announcements about those when they're available. All of your speech assignments are listed here. The introductory speech assignment, where you will upload your introductory speech assignment, the self-analysis form, and then, of course, as we move forward with the informative speech, the persuasive speech, the group project, and the critical analysis paper. Other things here, your weekly reading quizzes are accessible here. You see they're all open and available now. Your midterm and final exam will be accessible there. They are not available yet. They'll open up later on in the semester. I got sample speeches for you. You may want to make sure you go ahead and watch the sample introductory speeches as you get ready to prepare that on your own. We will be watching all of these sample speeches in the classroom. So when you return to class, we'll be watching those in class. And there's also a discussion board that we will use for things like posting topics for approval, asking questions, and so on. And you can directly email me there. So make sure that you can access all of the content in Blackboard. You can get in here and stop the sharing again. Okay. So that's just a brief overview of what to expect and how to use Blackboard. If you have questions, email me or post them to the discussion board. You know, life will be a little bit different for us for the first few weeks as you do your work online. But if you follow the steps and use the course schedule as a guideline and make sure you're following my announcements, you should have no problem doing that. Now, the next video that I'm going to put up is going to be an overview of the first speech assignment. So we'll cover that in detail so that you understand all the dynamics and requirements for that first speech.